Okay, welcome back to another installment of the Service Toolz Essentials training. We're doing importing products and contacts today. This is where it gets exciting. We get some products and contacts in, and we can really start playing with this thing. So, fair warning: this can be a little bit tricky if you're not used to working with large data sets. This might be a little bit new to you, but we've designed this to try to be as easy as possible, even if you are new to this kind of stuff. So. First things first, you have two different kinds of things. Obviously, we have products and contacts that we can import. We'll probably be able to do some more stuff in the future here pretty soon, but for now, those are the two things that we can get. Let's start with products. So what we can do is upload a CSV file, and that stands for comma separated values. It's a pretty common thing to store large data sets in, especially if you're going to export it from wherever you have it stored already. Usually it comes in a CSV format. So what we would do is choose our file. Let's go over into products. This is our import file. So it's going to take all of that information from that file and put it into this table right here so that you can review it. Let me show you around here. This first column is full of the different fields that Service Toolz uses to store its information. So you can see we got manufacturer, product type, all this information that you can import. This is all of your data. All the other columns, except for that one, is your data from the file that you just uploaded. And this is it's called a header column. Now, a CSV file is kind of like a spreadsheet, where you might have the first row is a row of labels for what's going to be in that column. That's called a header row. So when you import a CSV file, you might end up having a header row like this. What we want to do, we don't want to import any of that information if you do have a header row, because then you would have a product with a model of model. So we don't want that. So you can click this button right here. That way the system doesn't think that this is an actual product that you're trying to import. The rest of the data right here, you can just go over it, review it, make sure that it's accurate, and you can remove certain things. We don't want these aardvarks in there, so we'll take that out. And then you can just review everything else, make sure it matches up, and if you need to modify your CSV file to make sure things are in the right spot, you can. Once that all looks good for you, you want to go over here and verify that these fields are correct. Now, one of the biggest nightmares of importing data is mapping it to the right spot. So we've gone and tried to do a little bit of intelligent programming here and try to figure out the best match based on a header row for this stuff. But as you can see, it matched model to model year, so we just want to verify all that kind of stuff. We want that to be model number. We do have our product description, product text, which is kind of like a long description. Product type, that looks good. This one didn't quite get our quantity on hand level, so we'll grab that. We have our unit, our MSRP and map price. Selling price looks good. In my data, vendor 1 is actually going to be our vendor name. That's who we buy the product from. Vendor 3 I don't have mapped to anything, so we'll just leave that blank. Cost we got right, and we'll do our product URL. That's kind of the website link for the product, and our image URL. So you can store small little thumbnail images of these products if you want to. That can either be like a web link to that image, or it can be what this is called is a base 64 string, and it's basically an image in text format. It's pretty popular for storing images on the internet. So once we have all that mapped out, that means that all of this data is going to get imported into these fields for each product. So we want to double, triple check that that's right, because it takes a little bit of effort to undo this if we do get it wrong. So we want to make sure that it's correct. We'll just hit this import button, and we've successfully imported 34 products. So we can go into the products list here. So we'll just open up one of these products and take a look at what it looks like. Looks like we did get most of this all input. When you're importing data from somewhere, it's really tough to get all of the information that the new system wants from the old system without a lot of work. So we do some things where we have default values for some stuff, like model year defaults to 0, costs for other vendors default to 0, and if you don't have a vendor name, it's just going to ask you for one. Looks like we don't have a product URL for this either, so we can Google that. Let's copy this link, pop it in there. Now you don't have to do this for every single item that you import, because I know you're only going to be using, a few items at a time. So I'll kind of go over what happens when you do drop a product into a quote, and what you can do to complete that information a little bit easier. So we'll save this for now. Let's go into a quote. So when you are dropping in a product that is new that you just imported, let's say this EdTech device, we don't have a service item associated with it. So what that means, what Service Toolz does is it associates a service item with every product, so that it kind of consolidates everything into a nice little one-line item with associated labor. So it'll ask us which service item we want to use, and we'll just say hourly installation labor, and we will assign that to that product. Now, if we go back into our products list and we look at that product, you can see that it has assigned that service item, the installation labor hourly, to that product. If we go back into the quote, we can always edit this. We can just check to make sure everything looks good. We have our description and text. We have our image. We are missing our MSRP. So let's say the MSRP on this guy is also $79. We can save this information. We can't save cost to the database because there's a few different costs that you can associate with an item, but everything else you can save to the database. So we'll do that. We want to be careful that we're not overwriting other good information, but we'll save that. And if we go into our products list, we open that up. There we have our MSRP is saved in the database. But we'll go back to our quote here. We'll apply that, and that's kind of how you can make changes easily while you're doing a quote, instead of having to go through all of your imported products and verify everything. Just get in the habit of making sure that everything you need is in there when you work on it first. And then it'll be saved for when you need to, whenever you need to use it again. So back to it. Let's get back into our import tool. Now we can go over importing contacts. So we'll choose contacts from the import type list here, and we have two different options. We can either import from QuickBooks, which is a nice easy way of doing it if you've got all your contacts in QuickBooks. We can just click that button. It will connect up to QuickBooks if you've got that done in your settings already. And here we go. We got our list of QuickBooks contacts, and it knows exactly where it needs to map those out in our system. So again, you can just review all that if it all looks good. We don't need to ignore this column because we don't have a header column. We can just leave that as it is, and you just click import to import all of those options. The other way you can do it is to upload another CSV file, and we'll try that way. As you can see, we do have a header row on this CSV file, so we want to ignore that and just verify the rest of it. So this all looks good. We have our first and last name, our display name, company name. So we'll start mapping that out here. We'll do first name, last name. If we don't have any data, we don't need to map it to anything, so we can just leave that blank. We'll do company, display name. Is taxable? Yes. Most of these are. Referred by, we also have a mapping. So we can import up to 4 different addresses, 4 phone numbers, and 4 emails in this system. So because we only have one address for most of these guys, we'll just put that in the address 1. So we have our street 1, street 2, we don't have any data. We don't have any data for unit. Address 1 city, address 1 state, address 1 zip. And then we'll go scroll down here to phone 1 number, and we don't have any extensions, so we don't need to worry about the extension, but we can go to email 1 address, and there we go. Oh, and it looks like this guy has a secondary address, so we can go back up to address 2, and we'll put that in address 2. Now, it doesn't look like we have a city or a state or anything, so those are going to get default values. But it will import the street. So if that all looks good, we can click the import button. We have successfully imported 7 records, and we will go over to our contacts to check that out. So it looks like, here we go, we got Daniel LaRusso. Somewhere, there we go, we got all this information in there. And if we go to edit his information, we can just go over this and make sure that that it all looks good. And I just made up an address here, so it's probably not going to pass the test, but as long as you have one address, one phone number, and one email address, you're good to go with your contacts. So what's going to happen is you want to get in the habit of, when somebody calls, when you're dealing with an existing customer and you're working with them for the first time in Service Toolz, you just want to go in here and make sure that this information is complete and accurate. With the address, it's going to be kind of easy. When you hit update, it's going to verify that address with UPS. Now, if the address is incorrect but close, it will give you some suggestions of different addresses that it could be, and you can choose from those suggestions, or you can override it, whatever you need to do. So we're going to hit update. It says it's an invalid address, but we're gonna go with it anyway. So that's pretty much it for importing your products and contacts. We try to make it as simple as possible. It can be tricky though, so if you do need help, feel free to call us at any time, and we will be more than happy to help you out with that. Make sure that it is formatted in a way that's going to maximize our success with importing this stuff. So now that we have some products and contacts, we can really start playing with this thing, getting some quotes knocked out, and setting up some print templates, which is what we're going to go into in the next video. It's a very cool feature that not a lot of people have, so excited to show it off. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.